The Italian Wine Podcast is introducing a new donation drive this month. It's called Why Am I a Fan? We are encouraging anyone who tunes in on a regular basis to send us your 10-second video on why you are a fan of our podcast network or a specific show. We will then share your thoughts with the world with the goal of garnering support for our donation drive. Italian Wine Podcast is a publicly funded, sponsor-driven enterprise that needs you in order to continue to receive awesome free wine edutainment 7 days a week. We are asking our listeners to donate to the Italian Wine Podcast by clicking either the GoFundMe link or the Patreon link found on ItalianWinePodcast.com. Remember, if you sign up as a monthly donor on our Patreon, we will send you a free IWP t-shirt and a copy of the Wine Democracy book, the newest Mama Jumbo Shrimp publication. Welcome to this special Italian Wine Podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Welcome to the Italian Wine Club on Clubhouse. This is, of course, the Ambassador's Corner, the fireside chat with Matteo Giustiniani. And today, it is our favorite ambassador, and do. Hello, welcome. Ciao, Xiaowen.
Hi, Stevie. Thank you for the introduction. I'm so happy to be here.
Is Matteo your boss?
We can say that.
Yes, okay. Let's say that. So you're right at home. You are, I guess I know why you've chosen Matteo. I'm very happy. I'm not sure if I've met Matteo. Matteo, have we met?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So I'm looking forward to this chat. Just get close to the mic so we can hear you better. And Xiaowen is, of course, our Italian wine ambassador. She worked with us. She was part of our staff for a very, very long time. Well, long time for our standards. How many years had you been with us, Xiaowen?
Almost 4 years.
I know that's almost like a miracle, right? So by our standards. So, and then Xiaowen moved to work in Avignonesi. And Matteo is, are you the winemaker?
I'm the winemaker, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm looking forward to, I'm going to now mute my mic, Xiaowen, and I'm going to let you take over. You know how this works? Your interview with Elena Fucci is still one of the most popular episodes that we replay on Italian Wine Podcast. So I think way, way over 8,000 listens just on SoundCloud. So probably around 10,000 listens already. So hopefully this too will be a very successful episode on Italian Wine Podcast. So I will be leaving you two alone, and then I will try to come back. And of course, I'll come back if there are any technical difficulties as well. Okay, take it away, Xiaowen.
Thank you, Stevie.
Thank you, Stevie.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity. We'll start to say why I select Matteo as my favorite producer. So it's not just because Matteo is my boss. I have to interview my boss. That's not the case. Actually, since last year, like in September, as Stevie said, I relocated to Tuscany and started to work for Avignonesi. So Avignonesi is a very transparent company. Actually, the company motto is life through a glass. So I became a brand advocate after understanding more and more about winery. So Matteo is the CEO and also the chef winemaker of Avignonesi. He is one of the people I look up to in the winery. He is an approachable team leader with a strong work ethic. So as our tradition, we always define what should we expect from this interview. or what kind of objective we set for this interview. So first of all, we will dive deeper into the Montepulciano tongue and Vino Nobile di Montepulciano appellation, since we are here in this region. And secondly, many of you might know Avignonesi has already been in the textbook example for making the best Vinsanto. But what you might not know is Avignonesi also ticks many boxes in terms of the wine certifications. So I think today is a good occasion for us to openly discuss regarding the various certification Avignonesi has achieved over the years and what are the significance of this certification and which are the limitations. Then the last question, how did I discover the wine of Avignonesi? Actually, it's before I came to work for Avignonesi. I already well aware of the wines from Avignonesi. I coordinated their wine sponsorship for the VIA course in Hong Kong in 2018. Each time I got the chance to try Avignonesi's wine, I always impressed by how elegant Sangiovese can be. Besides, as I just completed my WSET diploma, and I still remember in the textbook, in the diploma textbook D3, Avignonesi has been mentioned twice as significant producer, both for the section of Vino Nobile and the section for Vinsanto di Montepulciano. So now I'm going to introduce my guest today, which is Matteo Giustiniani. As I said, he's a CEO and the chef winemaker of Avignonesi. He studied Enology and Viticulture at the University of Florence, and later he gained a master's degree in Enology from the University of Bordeaux. He started his career by working at Denis, a very difficult pronunciation. I try to pronounce it right. Bordeaux.
Du Bordieu.
Yeah, Matteo does it much better. Domains for 2 years. So at that time, Virginie, her husband Max, and her son Basil were studying in Bordeaux at that time. So Max shared with me that the Dean Dennis has strongly recommended them to hire Matteo. And Matteo joined Avignonesi in 2011. His wife Mina is actually running their family winery named Fattoria Sadi in Lucca, Tuscany. Besides, he is currently an INSEAD Global Executive MBA candidate. So now I will start to interview Matteo. So my first question is a personal question. What got you into wine? How did you start your career at Avignonesi? Could you please share with us your path to becoming a young CEO of Avignonesi?
Thank you, Xiao, for the introduction, and thank you, Stevie Kim, for the invitation. I'm very proud of having Xiao in our team, and thank you for the presentation because it was very kind. And why I'm here? Actually, because I met Virginie in Bordeaux, and for me, Avignonesi was a kind of dream. I remember very well when I was a student in the Florence University, and I was studying international varieties such as Merlot. And I remember an amazing bottle of Desiderio. For me, Avignonesi was a kind of between other 3-4 producer in Tuscany, one of the best producer for Merlot outside of Bordeaux region. And then, of course, the idea of Virginie produce a 100% Sangiovese here in the Nobile appellation was a kind of challenge because, as you probably know, in this appellation we are allowed to add up to 30% of other varieties, but in Virginie mind, the focus was Sangiovese, and I was very curious to deal with these varieties that actually is a part of my life since I'm young because I grew up in Florence. So for me, Sangiovese, it's like my water. And then of course, the idea to work for the largest biodynamic winery in Italy was another kind of challenge, especially when you are a young winemaker and you have to start your journey on this business. How I became CEO? Actually, I made my career here in Avignonesi almost 12 years ago. And actually, I'm the oldest manager here in the winery. So probably Virginie decided to appoint me as a CEO only because I'm the oldest.
So Matteo is very modest because he became CEO 6 years ago, which he wasn't the oldest. But anyway, so how about the Desiderio, which your favorite one back then? Is it still your favorite, or it's hard to choose? Which is your favorite?
I'm still considering Desiderio one of the best expression of Merlot outside of Bordeaux region, and of course it's one of my favorite. But now is one of my son, so I cannot judge if I prefer our Merlot or I prefer our Sangiovese.
Okay, so let's go to delve into a bit deeper about Avignonesi. So as you are a witness and an insider of the company, so could you share with us what has changed in the last 13 years since Virginie took over the winery? What is Virginie's vision?
But the big question is what is not changed in the last 13 years here in Avignonesi? Probably the name. We are still called named Avignonesi, not easy to say for everybody. And we are more or less in the same area, but in the last 13 years, unfortunately, the climate is changing a lot. I would like to say the soil, but in the reality, with our regenerative agriculture that we are practicing now for more than 10 years, our soil are different compared to what we find more or less 10 years ago. And she changed a lot. I mean, she introduced biodynamic. She introduced a kind of culture, a lot really different because for her it's very important to take care of our employees. So of course we try to train and respect the people that they are working for us. We changed our approach on the winemaking philosophy. Unfortunately, in the winemaking, we are still allowed to use a lot of chemical product, but here in Avignonesi, we respect the quality of the grapes. And actually, if you know what are you doing, you can do an amazing wine without any chemical product. And she increased the biodiversity. Now in our soil, you can find plenty of different kind of herbs and animals. And Xiao, actually, you know better than me because you are here only since 2 years and you already see how many things are changing every day.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like from my point of view, yeah, I'm here a little bit shorter time, but I do witnesses like how much change we're making even in the last a little bit more than 1 year. For example, we gained our B Corp certification, and we are buying a lot of new electric cars for the company. So the goal is to change all the company cars to electric. So all these change, all these things are changing day by day to make Avignonesi an even better winery. So that's the second question. So let's move to a question regarding the region. So Avignonesi winery is located in Montepulciano, Tuscany. Let's delve deeper into the Montepulciano appellation. Could you please briefly share with us the nobles past, present, and future? I know we are now here for hours, so briefly.
We are a very tiny appellation in the southeast part of Tuscany, very close to the border with Umbria. We have a very particular weather. Our climate is what we call inland Mediterranean weather. That means that basically we are, of course, influenced by the Mediterranean area, but in the reality, we are very close to Apennino Mountains. So actually, we are not influenced a lot by the ocean, but mainly by the wind, northeast wind called Tramontana. So that is translating in having a very hot days during the summertime, but we have a very cold night. So during the night, the vineyards can, let me say, have a kind of brief because they finally can have low temperature, and so they are not the hydric stress is mitigated. Then, concerning the soil, we have sedimentary soil created by maritime sediments. We have two different geological era. The first is a Pleistocene and the second is a Pliocene. So basically it's a mix of clay-rich soil. Sometimes we can find some sandy soil, but they are more or less all rich in calcareous, so limestone soil, and it depends where you are. Sometimes you have a lot of organic matters. So in this kind of soil, Sangiovese could be a little bit too much luscious, too much vigorous. That's idyllic for Rosso di Montepulciano or for rosé wines. Or in the other side, you can have a poor, rich soil in organic matters, especially close to Montepulciano. And there we have more or less the Sangiovese that usually can age for a while in the cellar and then create a kind of a complexity and unicity of Sangiovese from Tuscany. As you know, Nobile was the first DOCG red in Italy. So we have a very long history. Jefferson was one of the first wine lover of our appellation, and of course the name Nobile means noble. So the noble from Montepulciano was the wine for the noble people. So actually it was very well recognized everywhere in the world. The present of Nobile di Montepulciano for me is it's a kind of challenge because we are a very tiny appellation in a very big world, and so could be in the same time a weakness because maybe we don't have a lot of quantity to share with everybody. So the notoriety of Nobile sometimes is not so important, especially with the confusion that maybe you can have with the Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, but that actually is another region, is another varietal, is a if you want to compare in US Washington DC and Washington State, or if you want to compare, say, in Italian way, there is a famous film with Pieraccioni is one of the actors. Is actually Carpi. Carpi is a nice city, but Capri is beautiful. It is actually is more or less comparing Montepulciano town and Montepulciano grapes. For the future, I'm very optimistic, especially because here in our appellation there are a lot of producers that they are changing their mind. They are focused on quality, and there are a lot of investment that they are coming here. There are very famous families such as Antinori and Frescobaldi. They are investing here, and also there are a lot of young winemakers that they are very open mind and they are very focused on Sangiovese and our indigenous varieties, such as Mammolo, Canaiolo, Colorino. And now they decided also to revamp a little bit the appellation with the Pieve. I don't want to talk about the geological difference that you can find in different Pieve, but for sure it's a very good opportunity for our appellation because in these kind of rules that you have to follow if you want to produce a Pieve, actually you have to use only your grapes. And here in Avignonesi, we think that if you want to do a great wine, you have to take care of the whole process. And actually, the big part of our job as winemaker is done in the vineyard. So if you don't have the control of the grapes, you cannot do the quality. And in the Pieve is mandatory.
Thank you, Matteo. Yeah, that's a very good summary of the past, present, and future of Nobile. So the past is very glorious. Even Thomas Jefferson was a big fan of Nobile. And the present, we have a lot of challenges, but the producers are working hard to show what the best quality Sangiovese from this appellation can bring to the world. So let's hope the future will always be very bright for this region. Then the next question is regarding viticulture. But before moving into viticulture, I would like to take the opportunity to share the news that Avignonesi has been awarded the Robert Parker Green Album by the Wine Advocate. The distinction is given in recognition of the most extraordinary cases of sustainable efforts in the wine industry. So Avignonesi is certified organic, which has been certified since 2015, and biodynamic since 2019, if I'm not wrong. In fact, our approach to viticulture is beyond biodynamic. So what do biodynamic practices do to the wines? And what's your perception towards biodynamic viticulture?
Wow, that's a big question. Actually, I try to simplify the idea. Here in Avignonesi, we are convinced of actually the human not feed the plant, but the plant feed the human, and actually the plant can feed themselves through the soil. So what we are doing here in Avignonesi is actually is try to take care of our soil, because the soil is the future of the humanity. Is probably is the most important things that we have in Earth. And unfortunately, when we decided to plant more than 5,000 plants in 1 hectare, of course, it's not natural, because there is a kind of imbalance environment for the plant and for the soil, especially because we have to go in our vineyards with the tractors. So then you have less air in the soil, and then you can have some issue with the water, and the organic matter start to decrease. So actually, what we are doing here in Avignonesi through a good practices, agronomic practices, actually, is try to bring air in the soil. Try to be sure that when we have a rainfall, we are not miss a part of our soil. Or, for example, we try to increase the organic matters through the air. We have more microorganisms mix, try to fix more organic matters. And so we add a little bit of compost in our soil. We spray biodynamic preparation. We try to take care of our soil. Sometimes I'm thinking if we are actually cultivated our plant or if we are cultivated our soil. So when you have a healthy soil, then and you manage well your canopy, actually you can have a very healthy plant. I don't say that actually the plant can fight alone to the disease. So of course we still have to spray a little of copper and sulfur, but by the end we use also herbal infusion, and every year we are decreasing the quantity of copper that we have to spray in our vineyards. And being biodynamic, but at the same time being Avignonesi, so is a kind of mix between having a state-of-art equipment and having spending a lot of attention and time on observing the nature and the natural process. So of course here in Avignonesi we have also a very state-of-art equipment. We have tractors where we consume less fuels. We have equipment where we can spray the product, but at the same time we can manage exactly the quantity that we spray for, say, some copper. We actually mix between the new tools that we are discovering through the technology, and at the same time, but we spend a lot of time observing the plant.
So even from my point of view, I can see our viticulturists every day observing the plant and building a relationship, very intimate relationship with the plant to understand whether the plant is suffering anyway or just taking care of the plant as the plant is one of our best friend, for example. So yeah, biodynamic is our foundation at the moment, but we don't think biodynamic is the method. For example, if in the future we can find another method even better than biodynamic, Avignonesi will sure take on a method like that. That was a speech made by Matteo a while ago, which I believe is really the solution. Because at the moment, we think this is the currently best solution. But during our process, we always discover the better ways to make even better solutions for our soil, for our plants. So the next question, since we talked about viticulture, now we move on to winemaking, as you are also the chef winemaker of the company. So what's the winemaking philosophy at Avignonesi?
So, just to repeat myself, actually, in our opinion, a great wine is made in the vineyard. So, I considering my colleague Alessio Gorini is our agronomy and chief of operation, actually, being a winemaker in the vineyard, and because he spent a lot of time to observe our grapes, our plant, our soil. If you have healthy grapes, then of course it's very easy to vinify them in the cellar without using any chemical product. So what we do here in Avignonesi is what we call low intervention winemaking. So actually we try to harvest the grapes when they are perfectly ripe. Then we have two different ways uh, to have the harvest. The first is a manual. The second one is by machine. Sorry.
Yeah, the winemaking philosophy, I can also share something from my eyes, because when I first started working here, I also started in the cellar, so I can have a better understanding of what's going on in the cellar. For example, we use Pied de Cou. Have you shared that?
No,
Not yet. Okay. Pied de Cou. So we homemade our yeast instead of buying any yeast from the market. So this is also the minimum intervention of our winemaking practices here at Avignonesi. Plus, in all the cellar, like the only thing we'll use is actually a minimum amount of sulfur. We don't use anything else. We don't buy any products on the market. So for people who know about winemaking, who know about like the brochures, you can get a very thick brochure with all kinds of things you can purchase to add into the winemaking process. So it's actually, yeah, winemaking is, let's say, not as pure as we would imagine. But here at Avignonesi, every other product has been banned. So the only thing we add is a minimum amount of sulfates.
I'm still alive. I'm so sorry, but I'm recovering from, unfortunately, COVID, and so I'm not feel still very well. And yeah, thank you, Xiao. You are a winemaker as well, so you know very well your job. And yes, I mean, here in Avignonesi, we produce mainly red wine. And so, of course, we have to manage also the extraction of the tannins and the color from the skin. And what we do here in Avignonesi is actually two different techniques. The first is what we call semi-carbonic maceration. So actually we fill a part of our tanks with old bunches. It's a typical techniques that you can find in the Beaujolais village, not in Beaujolais Nouveau. The Beaujolais Nouveau is a typical carbonic maceration. I'm talking about semi-carbonic maceration. And so we try to have also a little bit of tannins from the stalks that, in our opinion, are very helpful to keep the freshness of the Sangiovese. The second techniques that we use for our Griffi is a super Toscan, is a blend of Sangiovese and Cabernet Sauvignon, is what we call the co-fermentation. So actually we fill our tanks with both varieties at the same time, and we try to find a kind of balance between the strongness and the powerful of the Cabernet Sauvignon from clay soil rich that we have here in our area, with the elegance and the balance of the Sangiovese. And actually, as you probably know, the Sangiovese is not very rich in color. The Cabernet here is definitely rich in color. And so we try to find a kind of balance between the likeness of color of Sangiovese and the high acidity of Sangiovese and the body and the strongness of Cabernet Sauvignon. Beside that, of course, sometimes we have a long fermentation, a long maceration. Depends according to the vintage. We change every time. We spend a lot of time in the vineyards to observe our grapes, but we do exactly the same in the cellar. We spent a lot of times on tasting, and say tasting, not drinking, our wine. And of course, every vintage is different, so it's very important to have an open discussion with the whole team, and the people that they are spend a lot of time in the vineyards, they know very well, and they can transmit what happened outside. Then, of course, being a winemaker is like being a chef of the cuisine and in the kitchen. The only difference is actually we have just one shot per year. When you are a chef, you can repeat your plot every day. When you are a winemaker, unfortunately, you have just one shot per vintage. So, of course, we made a lot of mistakes, of sometimes no, sometimes yes. But we learn every time from our mistakes. So what we do actually here in Avignonesi is try to taste every time also the old vintages and try to make a link between what we have done in this specific vintage and how we taste today our wines.
Thank you, Matteo. Indeed, like in Avignonesi, both for the viticulture and for enology, it takes a lot of observation. And observation actually is one of the 4 pillars of Avignonesi. Because when you're making a product this precisely and you want to taste them very precisely as well, then you make your decisions. So yeah, in terms of these 2 aspects, both viticulture and enology, our precision attitude is in both aspects. Like for example, even we are a relatively larger estate, but actually we harvest every about 2 hectares separately in our cellar, and they all fermented separately. So that you can see, like even we are a relatively larger estate, the way of our winemaking is very artisanal. Then let's move to the next aspect, which hospitality is another pillar of Avignonesi winery. And what kind of experience does Avignonesi provide for our visitors? And how can this promote our brand awareness?
We are in Tuscany, so we are very lucky because we have plenty of tourists every season. And here in Avignonese, we are exactly between Montepulciano and Cortona. I don't know if you have ever been here in Avignonese in our area, but actually both cities are amazing. And we decided more than 30 years ago now to create a kind of winery open for people. So the conviviality and the hospitality for Avignonesi, it's the center of our communication, of sharing with people, learning from people, because there are plenty of people that came here from everywhere. So we try to spend time with them and have a kind of immediately feedback on the quality of our wines. And we try to do our best to show the beautiful cuisine that we have in our region. And we have a restaurant so as well. And you can have a taglieri, you can have a visit of our cellar. That just to let you know, our cellar is dated of 1865, if I'm not mistaken. So actually, it's very old. And we have a kind of real fattoria farm, regenerative farm with our vegetable garden and so you can spend also times on picking and seeing our vegetables that they are growing. We have the bees, we have animals, so it's a kind of typical fattoria, regenerative fattoria here in Tuscany, in the beautiful countryside of our region.
Yeah, that's a good introduction of our hospitality center. The name is Le Cappuccini. So if you ever have a chance to come to Tuscany, we are very happy to welcome you to our hospitality center. So next question is the same regarding to a lot of certifications we got. So Avignonesi is also certified vegan and ISO 45001. So maybe a lot of people don't know exactly these two certifications I mean. So could you please let us know what each certification means? And there are so many certifications out there at the moment in the one world. So what's your opinion towards one certifications?
Okay. Actually, here in Avignonesi, we try to do everything in real. So sometimes we happen that people say that they are vegan, they are biodynamic, they are organic, but then they are not certified. Of course, I generally trust to people, but of course, if you are not certified, you are not certified. So it's a little bit long process, lot of boring, lot of red tapes. But I mean, it's really important to be sure that you are certified when you want to communicate that you are doing something. And that's why here in Avignonesi we are certified organic, we are certified biodynamic actually through Biodiven. It's not, Biodiven is a French wine grower association, biodynamic association. There are plenty of very famous wineries that they are certified through Biodiven. And actually is very also I like this kind of certification because it's also an association. So we spend a lot of times together sharing what we are doing. And actually, if you are a farmer, you learn a lot every time for the nature, but you learn a lot also sharing with the other people. And so if you want to develop the biodynamic, I mean, it's very important to share your experience with the other vine growers. And then we are certified vegan. I don't know if you are familiar, but actually in the wine industry, you can add a lot of chemical product and also animal derivatives products such as gelatin, such as eggs, milk. Here in Avignonesi, we avoid to add any fining agents or chemical products, so we decided to certify our process vegan, but just to be sure that we communicate properly to our consumer. Then we are certified also for the safety. Unfortunately, in agriculture, there are still a lot of slavery. That's it's very unfair, let me say, because okay, you can produce the most important, the most beautiful, the most enjoyable wine, but I mean, if you are doing that without respecting people that are working for you, it's a very I repeat myself, unfair. And so we are certified on safety, and then I think we will try to be certified also for biodiversity and regenerative. Hopefully, we have a QR code, so a big part of this information now are available for our consumer through digital, because otherwise, I don't know if you have still have space on the label to all the stamp that we want to have. But of course, we are Avignonesi. We are a very well known winery. We are in noble appellation, so we are not looking to having a certification just because we want to sell more our wine. We would like to produce our wine with keeping the quality, keeping the sense of place, but at the same time with the low impact on Earth. We are a B Corp certificated company, so we are a benefit corporation. So if I can translate in one sentence, actually we try to be one of the best company for the Earth. not of the earth. We are here to produce the maximum of quality, but without any without compromising the future generation.
That's a very good introduction with all our certifications. So Virginie, our owner, is also a firm believer of certification because the certification can make a company more credible. Because in this world, we all know, like everybody declares a winery is sustainable, but what's the proof? So in a way, this kind of certification is a way to show we are credible in the matter we are declaring ourselves. But of course, those certifications are not there to help us to sell wines. So I have my personal experience for my wine education. Like I just did my WSET diploma, and I did via Italian wine ambassador courses. So this courses is not like something to have one more stamp or one more title on my CV. It's like during the process, I checked my knowledge. I improved myself by using this certification as a measurement. So I know better my process. So I want to learn a lot about wine, but without these certifications, I don't measure myself very clearly. So I think the same goes to our company. So we use this certification as a benchmark at where we are at the moment, how we reach certain goals, how can we improve. Like even after we reach a certain certification, our goal is not to stop there, it's actually to move further, to keep improving what we are doing and to reach like the goal which Matteo said, the best winery for the earth, for the planet. Okay, so since you already covered the B Corp certification, so we can actually move on to the not last, but second to last question. So from your point of view, what makes Avignonesi unique from the crowds?
Italian Wine Podcast, brought to you by Mama Jumbo Shrimp.
Where we are, so we are in Montepulciano appellation. What we are, so we are people that want to achieve the quality, but without compromising the future for the generation. And actually, let me say transparency. What we do here in Avignonesi, if we have success, if we have unsuccess, so sometimes unfortunately, we miss the target. Sometimes we discover something. Sometimes we have to decided to change our process. Sometimes we have something new, such as a querceting, for example. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's the faults of the wine, but actually the quality is not affected. We want to be transparent. Transparency and consistency for Avignonesi, it's really important. Of course, we try to, we are very humble because actually there are a lot to do. That's very exciting also from the quality side, from the environmental point of view, from take care of our workers, but we try to do our best every vintage to increase and our job.
Thank you, Matteo. Yeah, indeed. Even for me, I think what makes Avignonesi unique is the transparency, because like our company motto, life through a glass. So yeah, so for me it's the same. Like since I came here, I don't feel like any of our department is hiding anything from anybody. So like our meetings is open to everyone from the bottom, like even from our interns to the top of our company, everything is very transparent. Okay, so let's go to the last question. The last question is, what are the plans for Avignonesi? I mean, the future plans, of course. Is anything new and exciting on the way?
Oh, wow. But of course, 22 vintage. We are very exciting of the wine that they are aging in our cellar, and I'm very excited, especially because this year we vinified the all indigenous varieties. More or less 5 years ago, Alessio Gorini, and Virginie decided to plant. some vineyards outside of Nobile appellation with these amazing indigenous varieties. For the red wine, I'm talking about Mammolo. Mammolo is very aromatic, floral, red grapes. Then we have a Canaiolo. Canaiolo is a kind of a Merlot, in my opinion. It's very soft on tannins and rich in color. Then we have Colorino, and Colorino is a little bit strange because it's rich in color, but the tannins, I mean, are not very elegant, but I love it. And then we have Alicante, that we call locally, because we are not too far away from the Trasimeno Lake, we call it Gamay del Trasimeno, but actually it's not Gamay, it's Alicante, so Grenache. And then for the white varieties, we have Trebbiano, of course. We're working with different clones. Then we have Grechetto, that they locally call Pulcinculo, sorry. And then we have Vermentino a little bit, but we have an amazing varietal that we discovered 5 years ago called Orpicchio. Orpicchio, there are only 3 hectares in total, and it's an amazing varietal because we can keep a lot of acidity, and so it's going to be very helpful, especially in the future when with the global warming, the temperature will be more and more higher.
So how about the La Stella project? Do you want to share something about that?
Okay, it's not a secret anymore. Okay, I'm joking. It's an amazing project, La Stella, because we try to increase the biodiversity in the vineyard. I already told you that actually it's a compromise being a farmer, being a wine grower, because actually we have more than 5,000 plants in 1 hectare. So of course it's unnatural. And so what we are studying here in Avignonesi is try to create vineyards where we decrease the amount of vines and we introduce other trees and other bushes and animals and flowers, herbs, cover crop, and so on and so on. So we try to also concerning the training system, we are going to respect the people that have to work on the vineyards. So there are a lot of a 360 degrees project is a vineyard of the new millennium, and I'm very lucky because we are not the only one that they are working this kind of project. And in my opinion, we have to rebalance a little bit the, the farming of the vineyards and everything. And so here in Avignonesi, hopefully on next year we are going to plant this vineyard, but we have to wait at least 6 years before having the first wine release on the market.
Yeah, that's something exciting. So now we finish all the questions. So Stevie, do we have maybe questions from the audience, or we can open the floor to the audience?
Okay, we do have one question. First of all, congratulations. We had a small hiccup in the beginning, but everything was, as Joy would like to say, smooth as butter. So excellent. Thank you very much for that. We do have a question from Jing, your friend. She asked, may I ask, when you say we produce our yeast, what does it mean in a deeper way? From winemaking view, how could you know the activity status and right amount of the yeast? Are they stable and has satisfactory consistency? How do you manage and control this part? And that's from Jing. I suppose it's a winemaking questions to you both. Did you understand the question?
First, when we say that we do our pedicure, we means that basically we do exactly what if you are a bakery at home, you create your lievito madre, so sour yeast. So we try to cultivate in micro what the yeast that then we are going to use for the vinification. Are there stable? Are there consistency? Here we have to say thanks to our R&D department and our interns actually as well, that they spent more or less the whole vintage time and looking through the microscope which kind of yeast are developing in, first of all, our pedicure and then in our tanks. If we are not completely sure about the quality of the yeast, we are going to send a sample in the laboratory and they are going to do PCR analysis and they are going to confirm if we still have a good quality yeast or if we have some contamination such as Brettanomyces or bacteria.
Okay, that's great. So I do have a small question for Matteo and Xiaowen, either of you. So when you say Avignonesi is certified organic and certified biodynamic, is it both or the entire estate is both organic and biodynamic, or are there different parcels? How does it work?
Okay, we are, first of all, I'm going to answer you. We are fully certified organic and biodynamic, and not only for our winemaking process, but also for our honey, olive oils, and etc. etc. Then the answer is actually when Virginie decided to move to organic and biodynamic. First of all, she decided to do only 30% of our estate, but then she decided to move to 100%, especially for our workers. Because how can you ask for some of people of your team to go outside and spray chemical, and to the other people to spray only herbal infusion? So immediately she said, no, I cannot do it. So let me try to do to become the largest biodynamic winery in Italy. I'm being honest with you. We had sometimes some mistakes, but finally, after 10 years, I can say that actually our total production every vintage is increasing and is perfectly comparable to the other producers that are still using chemical agriculture.
So, Matteo, you said that you are, of course, well known to be the largest biodynamic estate. How large is it? Can you give us some numbers in terms of acreage or hectares, and
Yeah.
also a number of the different types of labels, number of labels, and if you can quantify that in number of bottles, just so that our audience has a panoramic view of the size, because it is quite monumental because it is quite large.
I'm gonna say the numbers in hectares.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we have 170 hectares of vineyards and 300 in total. We produce mainly
So you have 170 hectares of vines, right? But you
vines,
have
yeah,
300 hectares of
of
estate
land.
in general.
And then we have more than 10 different labels under Avignonesi. And then we produce more or less 1 million bottles.
In total, 1 million bottles and 20 labels, did you say?
10. Under
10
Avignonesi
labels.
label 10.
Okay, very good. Listen, I think I would love to ask you many, many more questions. Unfortunately, I've got a call at 7, so I have 2 minutes to get to my call. You know, Xiaowen, how this works, right? At the office, I am not in command of my own agenda. I just do whatever Elena tells me to do. So now I have to go jump onto another Zoom. Thank you so much to both of you. Leica is making me work like crazy this week. It is the Clubhouse Marathon week. Yesterday we had an interview with Oscar Arrivabene from Domenico Clerico. So check that out soon when we do the replay on Italian Wine Podcast. This episode, of course, will also be on Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. We have 3 million listens the past 12 months alone. So incredible jump, Shawan. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm also excited for your career path, and you sound so happy, and it means so much to me. So that's it. I'm signing off. I'm just going to let Leica tell us what's on next this week. Leica?
Yeah, sorry, Stevie, but we're trying to fill the calendar for this December.
Yeah, for
So
Christmas holidays.
yeah, so Joy and I won't worry about it. So yeah, for Thursday, it's gonna be this week Thursday. So we have Arlene Oliveros. She's going to interview Francesca Vaira from GD Vaira. So that's it for this week, and thank you so much. Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
thanks very much. Ciao ragazzi, grazie ancora Matteo Xiaowen for Avignonesi. Ciao ragazzi.
Sniff, sip, sip, and swirl. Once again, here we go.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.